So dear students, back to continuation part of organisms and population. Previous class we have come across two important growth models. One is sigmoid growth curve, another one is exponential growth curve. Now look over today little bit revision, followed by that I will enter into important matter. Okay. So with respect to sigmoid growth curve is concerned, you have come across four phases. Followed by that I introduced this formula dn by dt is equal to Rn k minus n whole divided by k. dn by dt is nothing but change in population size. dn by dt is nothing but change in population size. R stands for intrinsic rate of natural increase. N stands for population density at time t. K stands for carrying capacity. Dear students, try to recollect the previous class matter. Sigmoid growth curve is also called as Verhulst-Pearl logistic curve. Okay, Verhulst-Pearl logistic curve, where at the end you have come across one formula dn by dt is equal to Rn k minus n whole divided by k. dn by dt is nothing but change in population size. R stands for intrinsic rate of natural increase. R stands for intrinsic rate of natural increase. N stands for population density at time t. K stands for carrying capacity. Followed by that you have come across exponential growth curve. It is having only two phases, lag phase and log phase. Followed by that you have come across formula dn by dt is equal to b minus d into n. b minus d is equal to r. Therefore dn by dt is equal to Rn. Exponential growth curve formula dn by dt is equal to b minus d into n. b minus d is equal to r. Therefore dn by dt is equal to Rn. It is also expressed in another way. nt is equal to n naught e to the power rt. nt is equal to n naught into e to the power rt. Population density after time t. nt stands for population density after time t. Population density after time. Population density at time 0. nt is equal to n naught into e to the power rt. nt population density after time. Population density after time. N naught population density at time 0. E base of natural logarithm. Base of natural logarithm. It is 2.718. 2.718. R stands for intrinsic rate of natural increase. T stands for time. Base of natural logarithm, you have to remember, base of natural logarithm, you have to remember it is 2.718. So R stands for intrinsic rate of natural increase, T stands for time. Okay, so that ends previous day matter, but for CET purpose you have to remember 2 to 3 important points. Now dear students, please remember 3 important points for CET purpose. The magnitude of R value, the magnitude of the R value for the Norway rat is 0.015. The magnitude of the R value for the Norway rat is 0.015. Same with the R value for the floor beetle is 0.12. In the year 1981, the R value for the human population is 0.0205. Please take care of these three CET points. The magnitude of the R value for the Norway rat is 0.015. Floor beetle is 0.12. In 1981, human population R value is 0.0205. 0.0205. Now look over Darwin Fitness. Darwin Fitness. Right. Now look over Darwin Fitness. So it is very important point for 1 mark. Darwin Fitness. Population evolve to maximize. Maximize means high R value. High R value. R stands for intrinsic rate of natural increase. Darwin Fitness. Population evolve to maximize. Maximize means high R value. R stands for intrinsic rate of natural increase. The reproductive fitness, it is also called as Darwin Fitness in habitat. Habitat is nothing but an dwelling place in which they live. Look over the definition. Population evolve to maximum the reproductive fitness in habitat in which they live. Maximize is nothing but high R value, intrinsic rate of natural increase. Okay, this is what is known as Darwin Fitness. Next, I will provide you 2 important points. This already you have come across once in first chapter. Some organisms will breed only once in their lifetime. Some organisms will breed only once in their lifetime. Other will breed many time in their lifetime. Some organisms will breed only once in their lifetime. Other organisms will breed many time in their lifetime. Once in their lifetime, already we have come across example bamboo. It produces flower only once in their lifetime, generally after 50 to 100 years. Another related example is Pacific salmon fish. Look over here. Some organisms will breed only once in their lifetime. Example is bamboo and Pacific salmon fish. Bamboo you have come across already once in first chapter. It produces flower only once in their lifetime, generally after 50 to 100 years. Generally after 50 to 100 years of time. So another related example is Pacific salmon fish. So many time already we have come across many examples including mammals. Next, another important point. Some organisms produces large number of small sized. Some organisms produces large number of small sized offsprings. Large number of small sized offsprings. Others will produces small number of large sized offsprings. Look over the point. Some organisms will produces large number of small sized offspring. Large number of small sized offsprings. Example is oyster. Whereas other organisms will produces, or most of the organisms will produces small number of large sized offspring. Example is mammals. So I have to take care of 2 points. One which I covered is there are some organisms are there which will breed only once in their lifetime, and other organisms will produces many offspring at many time, or they will breed many times in their reproductive time. Some organisms will produces large number of small sized offspring. Example is oyster. And other organisms will produce a smaller number of large sized offsprings. Example is mammals. You know already, plants, animals and microbes cannot live in isolation. Plants, animals, microbes cannot live in isolation. They interact in various ways to form a biological community. Plants, animals, microbes cannot live in isolation. They interact in various ways. To form biological community. This interaction may be beneficial or harmful or neutral. The interaction may be beneficial, or it may be harmful, or it may be neutral. Now look over the first one, predation. Now look over next matter. To escape from the predations, many adaptations are also noticed even in the animals also. To escape from the predation, many adaptations are also noticed even in the animals. But in your syllabus, they have quoted only 2 examples. One is camouflaged, cryptically colored, so that they are not easily detected to the predators. Camouflaged means cryptically colored, so that they are not detected to the predators. So this camouflaged is generally noticed in some insects and frogs. It is noticed in insects and frogs. Another example which you have come across in your lower classes is chameleon, not chameleon, chameleon. It has got the capacity to change the body color, to irritate enemies, and to escape from the predators. Chameleon has got the capacity to change the body color so that they can easily escape from the enemies and also from the predators. But here you have to remember only 2 examples, insects and frogs. Next is second example, monarch butterfly. It is having some chemical in the body so that it will become distasteful to the predators. Monarch butterfly is having some chemical in the body so that it will become distasteful to the predator. Here the predators are nothing but birds. Now question arises, from where it has collected that poisonous chemical? From where it has collected that poisonous chemical? When they are present in the caterpillar stage, they will feed on the poisonous weeds. Monarch butterfly is having certain poisonous chemical in the body so that it will become distasteful to the predators. So it has collected that poisonous chemical by feeding on the weeds, poisonous weeds. That ends two adaptations. Now question arises, what is the significance of this predation? Look over number 1, significance of predation. It will act as an conduit. It will act as an conduit for the transfer of energy across tropic level. It will act as an conduit for the transfer of energy across tropic levels. So back to your lower classes where you come across food chain, the transfer of food energy, from the green plants through a series of organisms with repeated eating and being eaten is called as food chain. The transfer of food energy from the green plants through a series of organisms with repeated eating and being eaten is called as food chain, where we come across tropic levels. Producers, first tropic level. Like this we have come across various tropic levels. Back to our side explanation. Predator will act as an conduit. Conduit means a channel for the transfer of energy across the tropic levels. Predators will act as a channel for the transfer of energy across the tropic level. Second, it will keep the prey population under check so that it can maintain ecological balance. Predators will keep the prey population under check to maintain ecological balance. They will maintain an ecological balance. Next example, I have to take care of this example. When an exotic species, you know already, indigenous means local, exotic means they are migrated from the foreign countries. When an exotic species is introduced into new geographical areas, when an exotic species is introduced into a new geographical area, it will become invasive and spread rapidly due to lack of predators. When an exotic species is introduced into new geographical area, they become invasive and spread rapidly due to lack of predator or due to absence of predator. I'll provide you one such an example. When the prickly pear cactus So when the prickly pear cactus was introduced into Australia in 1920, when prickly pear cactus was introduced into Australia in the early 1920s, it will spread rapidly and covered millions of hectares of land areas. When prickly pear cactus was introduced into the Australia early in the 1920s, it will become invasive and spread rapidly and covers millions of hectares of range land. But later it was controlled by introducing cochineal insect Cactoblastis. Okay, I will repeat this matter and take care. When an exotic species, exotic means migrated from the foreign countries, when an exotic species are introduced into a new geographical areas, they will become invasive and spread rapidly due to lack of predators. Example, when prickly pear cactus was introduced into Australia early in the 1920s, it became invasive and spread rapidly and covered millions of hectares of range land. But later it was controlled by introducing cochineal insect Cactoblastis from the nature. One more point related to predation. When the predators are too efficient and over exploits its prey, no doubt prey population will become extinct within a short time. Following it, predators are also going to become extinct due to lack of food. Look over, dear students. When the predators are too efficient and over exploit its prey, then prey population will become extinct. Following it, predator will also become extinct or they will lose their life due to lack of food. Next matter is related to competition. Competition is a process in which the fitness of one species or one organism is significantly lower in presence of another species. Competition is a biological process in which the significance of one species is lowered in presence of another species. Competition is a process in which the fitness of one species is significantly lower in presence of another species. There are two types of competition are there. Intraspecific and second is interspecific. Look over, competition is a process in which the fitness of one species is significantly lower in presence of another species. Competition are of two types, intra and interspecific competition. If the competition will occur in between the individuals of the same species, then it is called as intraspecific. Intra means inside. If the competition will occur in between the individuals of the same species, then it is called as intraspecific competition. If the competition will occur in between the individuals of different species, then it is called as inter means in between. If the competition will occur in between the individuals of different species, then it is called as interspecific competition. Interesting point, even sometimes unrelated species will also compete for the same resources. Unrelated species will also compete for the same resources. I'll provide you one example. In the shallow South American lakes, visiting flamingos and resident fish will compete for the same food, zooplanktons. Look over here, sometimes unrelated species will also compete for the same resources or same food. For example, in the shallow South American lakes, visiting flamingos and resident fish will compete for the same food, that is zooplanktons. Flamingos, you have seen a very beautiful bird. Fish also you might have noticed. Right, now look over predation. It is a biological interaction. Predation is a biological interaction where the larger species called predator will attack, kill and feed on the smaller species called prey. Predation is a biological interaction where the larger species called predator will attack, kill and feed on the smaller species called prey. I will provide you one example, but please don't write this example in the examination. Cat and rat. Cat and rat. Rat is an example for prey. Rat is an example for prey. Cat is an example for predator. Look over here. Predation is a biological interaction or biological process in which the larger species called predator will attack, kill and feed on the smaller species called prey. I will provide you a beautiful example which you have come across many times in your life. Rat and cat. Rat is an example for prey. Cat is an example for predator. Cat will attack, kill and feed on the rat. So interesting point. Sometimes predator will also become one predator will become prey for other organisms. Sometimes predator will also become prey for other organisms. I'll provide you one example. Dog. It will attack. Dog will attack, kill and feed on the cat. So predator are always stronger than the prey. Look over the point carefully. Predators are always strong when comparing with the prey. They are always stronger than the prey. Sometimes predator will also become prey for other organisms. For example, DOG, dog. It will attack, kill and feed on the cat. Predator may be carnivorous or it may be an herbivorous. You know already, since from your lower classes you have come across these technical terms. The animal which feed on another animals are called as carnivorous. The animal which feed on another animal are called as carnivorous. The animal which feed only on the plants are called as herbivorous. There are some herbivores are there which will destroy the whole plant or seeds. They are also considered as an predators. Predator may be carnivorous or herbivorous. The animal which feed only on the plants are called as herbivorous. They will destroy the whole plant or they will destroy seed. They are also considered as an predators. I'll provide you one example for the organism which will destroy the seeds. House sparrow is on one way it is an predator because they will destroy the seeds. Okay. So there are some carnivorous plants are also there in the nature. There are some carnivorous plants are also there in the nature that you have come across in PUC first year chapter morphology of flowering plants. Carnivorous plants are nothing but insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants. The plants which feed on insects are called as insectivorous plants. There are some carnivorous plants are also there in the nature. They are nothing but insectivorous plants. The plants which feed on insects are called as insectivorous plants. Example is Nepenthes, Drosera, Utricularia. Nepenthes, Drosera, Utricularia. They will trap the insects or they will kill the insects just to get nitrogen. They will trap on the insects to get nitrogen. But there are many adaptations are noticed both in the plants and animals. There are adaptations are noticed both in the plants and animals to escape from the predation. There are some adaptations are noticed in the plants and animals to escape from the predations or to escape from the predators. Under that, I'll provide you 3 examples which are noticed in the plants to protect themselves from the herbivorous animals. Now look over the adaptations. In the plants to protect themselves from the herbivorous animals. Thorns in acacia, spines in cactus, poisonous chemicals in calotropes, cardiac glycosides, now look over adaptations in the plants to protect themselves from the herbivorous animals or grazing animals or browsing animals. Thorns in Acacia arabica, where axillary buds are modified into thorns. Hard, pointed, needle-like structures. Hard, pointed, needle-like structures. Thorns in Acacia. Second, spines in cactus that already we have come across once, pillowclade. It is an aerial modification of the stem for photosynthesis. Pillowclade is an aerial modification of the stem for photosynthesis, where leaves are highly reduced and they are modified into spines to perform 2 important functions. One, to protect the plant from the herbivorous animal. Second, to check the rate of transpiration. Poisonous chemicals in calotropes. I hope that you have seen calotropes. It is an weed. Weed is nothing but unwanted plants. Poisonous chemicals in weeds like calotropes. It is an important plant which is worshipped even by the Hindus also. Actually, it is a weed. Weed means unwanted plants, but no doubt it is having some medicinal properties. So chemicals, poisonous chemicals in calotropes. When you detach this calotropes, you will get a milky fluid that will irritate herbivorous animals. Some plants will produce cardiac glycosides that will causes strong contraction of the heart muscles. And even, so recently we have come across in all the news, narcotic drugs like nicotine, narcotic drugs. The drugs which will affect the nervous system are called as narcotic drugs. Narcotic drugs like nicotine, caffeine, opium are actually produced by the plants to protect themselves from the herbivorous animals. So the drugs which will affect the nervous system are called as narcotic drugs. Narcotic drugs like nicotine, caffeine and opium etc. are produced actually by the plants to protect themselves from the herbivorous animals. Now question arises, what happens when the animals will feed on these narcotic drugs? They will feel sick. These are the few adaptations in the plants to protect themselves from the herbivorous animals. Same way, adaptations are also noticed even in the animals. The feeding efficiency of one species, is lowered due to interfering and inhibitory activity of other species, even though when the resources are more. Look over here, feeding efficiency of one species is reduced due to interfering and inhibitory activity, even though when the resources are abundant. I'll provide you one example. ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸಲ ನೀವು ಮ್ಯಾರೇಜಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿರ್ತೀರಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಊಟ ಜಗ್ಗಿ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಪುಟ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಫುಲ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆದರೆ ಜನರು ಹೆಂಗಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಭಾಳ ಜನ ಸೇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನೀವು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಐಟಮ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಲ್ಲ ತೊಗೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋ, ಒಬ್ಬರು ಯಾರೋ ಇಂಟರ್ಫಿಯರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ ನಡಬರ್ಕೆ, ಆ ಪ್ಲೇಟನ್ನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹಚ್ಚಿಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ಸಿಗೆಲ್ಲ, ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸಲ ಬಂದು ಅಡ್ಡ ನಿಂತು ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವಾಗ ನೀವು ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಬೇಜಾರಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡಪ್ಪ ಇಷ್ಟು ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಷನ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡೋದಂತ ವಾಪಸ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತೀರಿ. ಅದೇ ಥರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫುಡ್ಡು ಜಗ್ಗಿ ಇದ್ದರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಿಮಗೆ ತೊಗೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರು ಬಂದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ಫಿಯರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಇನಿಬಿಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದಪ್ಪನವ್ರು ಬಂದರೆ 100% ಇನಿಬಿಟ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್. ಸೊ ಲುಕ್ ಓವರ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ಸೇಮ್ ವೇ the feeding efficiency of one species is significantly lowered due to interfere and inhibitory activity of other species, even though when the resources are abundant. When the resources are limited, superior, competitively superior species, when the resources are limited, competitively superior species will eliminate inferior one. When the resources are limited, competitively superior species will eliminate inferior one. I'll provide you one such an example. The Abingdon tortoise found in the Galapagos Island will become extinct due to introducing goats in that island. Abingdon tortoise are extinct in the Galapagos Islands due to introducing goats in that island. Goats have more browsing efficiency. As a result, this Abingdon tortoise is unable to get the food and they have lost their life. Look over here. When the resources are limited, competitively superior species will eliminate the inferior one. On such an example, the Abingdon tortoise found in the Galapagos Island will become extinct due to introducing goats in that island, because goats are having more browsing efficiency, or they will feed more on the plants. In Connell's elegant experiment showed that in the rocky seacoast of Scotland, in the rocky ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾಯಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, okay, in Connell's elegant rocky seacoast of Scotland, superior banical balanus will eliminate Chathamallus. In Cornell's elegant experiment, he shown that in the rocky seacoast of Scotland, the superior banical balanus will eliminate Chathamallus. Last one more point is there, it is Gauss principle. Last point related to competition. So this competition is a little bit complicated, so take care of explanation. According to Gauss, same scientist you have come across even in the physics also, but according to Gauss principle, no two species, or when the closely related species with similar requirements, when two closely related species with similar requirements cannot coexist for a longer period in the same environment. In order to avoid the competition, some groups are active during different periods, some are active during different period, and they use different food. Otherwise, one species is completely eliminated from the nature, because no two species can occupy the same ecological niche. Look over here, according to Gauss principle, when two closely related species with the same requirements cannot coexist for a longer period in the environment, because one species will eliminate other species. In order to avoid this competition, they use different food. In order to avoid the competition, they use different food, and even they are active at a different time. So many experiments are there. Under that, one such an example is warblers living in the same plant. 5 warblers, it is a kind of bird living in the same plant, will avoid competition by feeding on different parts, and even they are active at a different time also. Look, over the last matter concerned with this organisms and population is Mentalism. It is an antagonistic interspecific interaction. It is an antagonistic interspecific interaction where one species will inhibit another species is not neither benefited nor harmed. It is an antagonistic interspecific interaction where one species will inhibit other species is not neither benefited nor harmed. For example, penicillium, you know, it is an antibiotic which will inhibit the growth of bacteria including Staphylococcus bacterium. Penicillin is produced by the Penicillium notatum that will inhibit the growth of varieties of bacteria including Staphylococcus bacterium. So the last point is Mentalism. So please don't omit the point also, because this matter has appeared once in the examination.